If you've been watching this show for a while, you know that the Godzilla movies I've reviewed so far have been on something of a downward spiral. I mean, I started out with the Godzilla victory dance, then moved on to Godzilla vs. the Lobster Dinner, and left off with this abomination against nature. But good news, everybody, this one's actually an improvement over the last movie, which means it's better than this. Plus, this is my 40th episode of this show, which is pretty special. Kind of. Destroy All Monsters was originally intended to be the last Godzilla film, and wanting to go out with a bang, Toho decided to put all their monsters into one movie, with the exception of all the monsters that they decided not to include. Of course, most of you probably know that this wasn't the last Godzilla movie, not by a long shot, since as of 2014, Godzilla has been in 19 more movies since this one. 21 if you count the American ones. So is Destroy All Monsters a fitting send-off for Godzilla? Even though that's totally not what it is, let's find out, boys and girls. So unlike previous entries in the series, this movie takes place in the future, namely the far-off year of 1999!
The United Nations Scientific Committee has established an exploratory base on the moon. A rocket base is also functioning on the Earth, and spacecraft leave for the moon on a daily schedule.
And all this technology is made possible using a computer small enough to fit inside a warehouse with an astonishing 4 bits of memory. Also, it has Minesweeper. The other big technological innovation is that all of the world's monsters have been captured and safely confined to an island called Monsterland. Just to clarify, Monster World is the name of the one in Florida. Almost all of Japan's most famous movie monsters are here, like Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and even Minya. Oh great, I was just thinking this movie didn't have enough donkey noises in it. Hey, wait a second, if this is the future, why the hell is Minya still a kid? Shouldn't he have at least hit puberty by now? Come to think of it, the Spyga is on the island too, and we clearly saw it die in the last movie, so how is it alive again? Alright then, I guess this is a prequel to Son of Godzilla. Except, we saw Minya being born in that movie, so how can that be? Also, Godzilla killed Anguillus in their first fight, and now he's alive again for some reason. And Mothra's a caterpillar even though she was a moth the last time we saw her. And you know what? Fuck it. The slogan for this island should be Monsterland. Try not to think about it too much. And in addition to monsters from previous movies, there's also humans from previous movies.
Hi.
Well, it's Katsuo.
Yep, this guy has now appeared in 3 of the 4 Godzilla movies I've done so far. This time, instead of an inventor or a reporter, he's an astronaut on the moon. This guy is like the Barbie of the Godzilla series. Every time you see him, he's got a different job.
Where are you?
I'm at the moon base.
What?
This phone call costs a lot.
I'll sure be glad when they finally invent Skype. By the way, don't you just love video phone calls where you still have to physically hold the phone to your head during the call? Yeah, they may have mastered interplanetary travel in the future, but that damn speakerphone technology is still just out of reach. Anyway, no sooner do these lovebirds start their phone call when something goes wrong.
What's going on?
I can't understand. Quick, check out the trouble circuit.
Oh, of course, the trouble circuit's causing the trouble. Hey, why did we have that installed anyway?
Doctor!
The base suddenly gets attacked by a 60s Batman villain, apparently, who not only takes out the crew, but the monsters as well. Well, here's one thing the movie got right about the future. They successfully predicted how big TVs would get. I sure hope there's something good on.
This is Radio Moscow reporting. Rodan has suddenly attacked Moscow. It's Rodan.
Oh, hey, they get monster vision. So the monsters suddenly start attacking major cities because, well, it wouldn't be much of a Japanese monster movie if they didn't. Rodan destroys the Kremlin in Moscow, Mothra attacks Beijing, and Gorosaurus destroys the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Now, he would have destroyed the Eiffel Tower, but whenever he asked for directions, everybody there just pretended like they couldn't understand him.
The major cities in the world are being destroyed one by the monsters. Moscow by Rodan, Beiping by Mothra.
Moose Jaw by Anguillus.
Here's a special news bulletin. Godzilla is now in New York City.
New York, huh? Well, as long as it turns out better than this, I'll be happy. Oh no, Godzilla, not the United Nations building! They were just about to impose sanctions on Monsterland! The press demands to know what the hell is going on, although by this point you'd think they'd be used to giant monster attacks.
All I can say now is what I said 20 years ago.
Let's see. This takes place in the 90s, so disco sucks?
We must be on our guard.
Oh, well, that would have been my second guess.
But Dr. Yoshida, Monsterland is close by, so why wasn't Tokyo attacked?
I'd like to know that answer myself.
Well, Tokyo, maybe if you didn't let yourself go so much, the monsters would still be attracted to you and wouldn't have to cheat on you with other cities. Meanwhile, in an episode of Thunderbirds...
Moonlight, SY3.
This is Moonlight SY3. Over.
Return to the base.
Why? What's wrong?
You'll find out.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly just tell you now. That would take 5, maybe even 10 seconds. Now get your ass over here. So the astronauts return to base and... You're serious with those spacesuits? Alright, well, I guess that means I get to do this again. While en route to the base, they spot a UFO, but I'm sure it can wait. After all, home base sounded like they had something really important to tell these guys.
Is it some kind of an emergency? Is that why they called and asked for our help?
They didn't ask us for help. They want us to return.
I see. You couldn't have just told us that over the intercom, huh? You know, if you had just said that in the first place, we'd probably be halfway to Earth by now, jackass! So the crew is told to go to Monsterland to try and investigate the situation.
I know that you're the only people who can do this job. Watch out for possible trouble.
Should we be armed?
Now, when a problem comes along, you must whip it. Yes! 2 Devo references in one video. Alright, time to find out who's behind all this. Ooh, hey look, they're watching Destroy All Monsters.
What's going on around here?
I want all of you to cooperate with us. Things will run a lot smoother then.
Hopefully things will run smoother than that line delivery. Alright, so in case you haven't figured it out by now, the explanation for what's going on is... Are you ready for it? The monsters are being controlled by aliens. I know this was only the second movie in the series to use this storyline, but in the movies that followed, this plot device would get really played out. And considering this movie technically takes place in the future, the main characters really should have seen this coming.
I want you to know that I am not your enemy.
You've just destroyed some of our major cities. Now, who are you?
Katsuo, why don't you let her finish her story?
Yeah, they may be trying to take over the world, but there's no need to be rude about it. Jeez. The aliens come from a planet called Kilaak, and they kind of look like what would happen if Cirque du Soleil had a women's synchronized swim team. Ooh, nice try, buddy. That's what you get for trying to cop an alien feel.
Where are the others?
Don't bother them. Will you join us?
Let me think about that for a second.
No, I won't. And I'm taking some of you out of here.
But only some of you. The spaceship only seats 7, and I am not willing to let anybody ride without doing up their seatbelt. After a gunfight, the astronauts manage to escape with one of the brainwashed scientists. But never mind that, because there's some rampaging monsters we need to show, and okay, I guess we're sticking with these guys then.
What's happened to you, Doctor? Have you been brainwashed?
He won't answer any of our questions.
Oh man, you mean I stripped this guy down and put him in that suit for nothing? I even tied up your ascot, you brainwashed bastard. As if that wasn't bad enough, then the guy goes and ruins it by getting sand all over it too. Okay, so he's dead. Are we gonna get to the monsters now? Nope, I guess it's time for another gunfight. This is actually one of my main problems with this movie, namely the fact that for a movie called Destroy All Monsters, there hasn't been a whole lot of monsters so far. I know that every Godzilla movie has a human storyline to go along with the kaiju action, but this movie was advertised as being a huge monster bash, and so far most of them have only had a few seconds of screen time. This movie should have been called Destroy All Cameos. Okay, back to the plot. They find out the aliens are controlling the scientists with an implanted device.
It's not a hearing aid.
Yep, that's probably why it was in his neck and not in his ear, Doc. What do you say we concentrate on finding out what this thing is and not what it isn't?
It's hard to tell what it is, but I think it's some kind of metal.
Okay, are any of you guys actually scientists, or did the janitors just put on the wrong uniforms today?
Is this how he controlled the monsters?
Possibly, Otani. The monsters were being controlled by the same device.
Yeah, thanks, Extra from Gorgo. Anyway, time to find the source of the aliens' control.
I'm busy. I don't know what kind of a stone it is, but I don't have any time to take it somewhere to have it examined.
Oh, well, what do you know? The Japanese version of Barney Fife is a terrible cop, too. Maybe he's better at bird watching.
What is it? Oh, it's Rodan.
Well, it can't be.
Yeah, that would mean actually showing some monsters in a movie called Destroy All Monsters. Well, it sure didn't take them very long to find the source of the aliens' control signal. So, does this mean we can take a break from the humans and actually get to some... Yes! There's a monster! Oh, good. It took them a little while, but they're finally getting to some kaiju action and... Oh, what? More people looking at screens? Come on, movie, quit teasing us already! They eventually do cut back to the monsters. And look, Tokyo, not only are you finally getting attacked by Godzilla, but several other monsters too. See? You really are special. The Japanese military's had trouble stopping giant monsters before, but this is the future, which means now their weapons are powerful enough to... destroy everything next to the monsters. Okay, seriously, are they even trying to hit them? Look at this, they're literally hitting everything except Godzilla in this shot. This isn't hard, fellas, just aim for the giant city-destroying monsters. You're making the military from the 1998 Godzilla look competent.
I didn't think Tokyo would escape this terror.
New York, London, Moscow, they were all very lucky.
I guess. If you consider being destroyed by giant monsters lucky.
The damage is horrible.
Yes, Tokyo is in ruins.
In hindsight, we probably shouldn't have aimed at the buildings. Our bad. Okay, if you want to save the world, you're gonna need to stop the aliens. Any plans?
That's why your job is to find out where they are. You will go underground. With your spaceship.
I'm pretty sure that's not how spaceships work. Turns out they don't need to go underground, though. The aliens will just come to them.
If all of you agree to let them stay here, and will abide by their laws and rules, the monsters will go back.
Unless we agree to these terms, the monsters will destroy all of us.
Yes, we're completely helpless against these monsters, which we had safely confined to an island that we designed. You know, whatever we did to capture the monsters in the first place, we should probably just do that again. Well, that does it. Earth is not going down without a fight. You may have caught us by surprise before, but now we're ready, and this time we are gonna destroy all monsters. Oh, for Christ's sake, aim at the monster! You know, I think I just figured out why the military can never stop Godzilla. It's not because Godzilla's indestructible, it's just that the Japanese army can't aim worth shit. While the army's busy making Imperial stormtroopers aim look good, the astronauts catch a bit of a break when they spot one of the Kilaak's ships.
Let's follow.
Okay, remember to stay at least 3 car lengths behind so they don't notice us following them.
It's headed towards Fuji.
This has something to do with those Kilaaks.
Gee, you think? Okay, the Kilaak base is in Mount Fuji, so the only thing to do now is storm the mountain and oop, never mind, everybody just go back home. Sorry to bother you. I gotta say, Godzilla's neck looks really long and skinny here. I can see why he decided to put on some weight for the 2014 movie. The astronauts get inside Mount Fuji by entering the mountain's anus, I guess, and they eventually find the Kilaak base.
Look over there.
Oh no, the Kilaaks are filming episodes of Time Tunnel in there! The Fiends! And in case you didn't get that reference, just ask your parents.
What you just saw is the same spaceship that you saw near the moon. So now you're convinced that we're from outer space.
Was that the big question on everybody's mind at this point? I think they probably figured that out after you told them you were from another planet.
Meanwhile, a new control center has been built on Ogasawara Island.
Now, movie, I appreciate the effort, but I'm perfectly capable of summarizing the plot on my own. Okay, so they learn that the primary source of the Kilaak signal is coming from the moon. We also learn that the Kilaaks are really... the T-1000?
Seems they can only exist in a hot climate. We broke down their wall, and then the temperature went down.
They're dead?
Well, I don't know.
I also don't know how I knew all of that other stuff. Whoa, fellas, a little late to be finishing up the film's models now, isn't it? Okay, so they take the alien's control device / Doctor Who robot and make their way back to Earth. With the monsters now under Earth's control, they prepare to assault the Kilaak base at Mount Fuji. So you know what this means. In this movie called Destroy All Monsters, we're finally gonna get some monsters. Boys, let's get the lineup.
Godzilla! No, it's not. The first is the son of Godzilla.
What the hell? You mean another guy thought Minya was Godzilla? That's like seeing Napoleon Dynamite and confusing him with Batman.
Both Godzilla and Mothra are in the same area. They're all coming to the base of Mount Fuji to attack the people of Kilaak.
Did you like that shot of Varen and Baragon? Good, because that was about half their screen time. Things look bad for the Kilaaks, but they still have another trick up their sleeve.
It's Ghidorah.
Don't you mean Ghidorah?
Ghidorah is a space monster. The monsters from Earth cannot win.
Yes, Earth's monsters can't hope to beat Ghidorah. Last time it took Godzilla and Rodan combined to defeat him, and now you've only got... Oh, shit. We did not think this plan through. Alright, enough yapping. Let's get to the fight already.
Godzilla will lead these monsters in mortal combat.
Well, when there's a setup like that, you all know what I have to do. You know, you would think when you're outnumbered by about 12 to 1, the smart thing to do would be just fly away. But to his credit, Ghidorah stays and fights. And man, does he ever get the shit kicked out of him. I think that since this was supposed to be the last Godzilla movie, the filmmakers didn't care if they damaged the suit and just decided to go crazy on it. Man, I think this is the first time I've ever felt kinda bad for a monster puppet. Oh, what? Minya gets a kill shot on one of Ghidorah's heads? Bullshit! Yeah, whatever. The other monsters soften him up for you, you little turd. But would you believe the Kilaaks still aren't done yet?
A burning monster is on its way.
Dr. Yoshida's machine has been destroyed by the fire dragon.
Fire dragon, huh? You know, I'll bet Ghidorah probably would have appreciated the fire dragon's help while he was getting curb-stomped by the other monsters. You know, instead of revealing all these ultimate weapons of yours one at a time, maybe you should just use them all at once. You'd probably conquer the Earth a lot faster that way. Oh, and in case you're wondering just what exactly the fire dragon is, it turns out it's just one of their spaceships. And regarding whether or not all Kilaak spaceships can do this or just the one, the answer is... Okay, so the fire dragon is defeated, Godzilla destroys the Kilaak base, and the day is saved. Unfortunately, Minya is still alive to terrorize us with another movie. The end. So now's the part where I say that this is the greatest Godzilla movie ever because it has so many monsters in it, right? Don't get me wrong, it's nice that Toho was able to put so many of their monsters into one movie, but a lot of them are relegated to a few brief cameos, and in some cases they're only on screen for a few seconds. Not to mention that for a lot of the movie, we aren't actually watching the monsters, but rather the humans looking at them on monitors. The movie is still fun, and it's a definite improvement over Son of Godzilla, but to me it falls a little short of being the ultimate monster rumble it's advertised as. The ending battle makes it worthwhile, though. Well, that's all the Godzilla for now, but like the inevitable reboot of a popular American movie franchise, he will be back. Until then, everybody.
I really wasn't worried about you. I was more worried about Godzilla.
Oh.